Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and today we're talking about that movie based off the fighting game. Not that fighting game, or that fighting game. It's Tekken! Like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are the big ones, right? Like Tekken's like after that.
Well,
right?
Tekken is pretty big though.
Yeah, but not as big as Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
No. Or Dead or Alive. I think Dead or Alive might be like the next.
Well, we'll do Dead or Alive. There's a Dead or Alive movie.
I know. I love the Dead or
Kevin
Alive
Nash
movie.
is in it.
Yes.
Say no
Jamie
more.
Presley, who you saw at a Target one day.
Oh, see, now I'll be able to say I saw a movie with
Right. Because you were like, who is she? She's famous.
Speaking of who people are, now I know you were in a previous episode, but this is your first time in the studio.
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself? Properly introduce yourself.
I don't know which one to look at, so I'm just
Okay,
gonna
that
roll
is
with-
your camera.
Yeah, okay.
That's specifically you and Cecil's camera. That's the
Okay.
wide camera.
Okay.
People sometimes address my camera, and I have to be like, no, that can't see you. So these two.
Awesome. So I am Yoshi Vu. I am an artist. Currently, I work as a designer on a show called Invincible.
I know that show.
Yes.
It's a good
Good.
show.
That's good. I like it.
And of course, Cecil's back.
Yes. Tony was kind enough to have me back, even though I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, Cecil, I'm glad you learned your lesson, and you made sure to watch the movie before we filmed.
Look, this time it was only one movie.
Unlike some people.
It was a misunderstanding.
Yoshi didn't understand that we were supposed to watch the movies beforehand. So we literally sat down to film, and he went, wait, I thought we were going to watch it. So guys, never in my life did I ever think that I would watch the Tekken movie twice in 24 hours, but here we are. I've now watched... And you know, it's real shitty. Like last night, I'm like, I got to pick him up early from the airport, but I didn't watch the movie yet. I just got to stick it through. I got to make sure I watch this movie tonight. So I'm like, it's 2 a.m. I'm like, good. I finally finished. I could go to bed.
That makes me feel even worse because when I misunderstood your text, I remember thinking like, oh, great. I don't have to watch the movie right now. I can focus on packing.
So yes, this movie is very fresh in our head.
It certainly is.
So Tekken, based off the fighting game, which is a fighting game I used to own.
Masters of Terraskazi?
No. See, I have that here. So I did used to own Tekken. I have most of the games I've ever owned in my entire life. Somehow Tekken disappeared. So I have Terraskazi, or however it's pronounced, because that also means Iron Fist, which Tekken means Iron Fist. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise, but I played the shit out of the first game. Which the only reason I got the first game is because I went to like a GameStop or whatever game store and I wanted like a Twisted Metal game, and then like it was completely destroyed. And they're like, well, we're not going to refund you. Here's Tekken instead. So I have a lot of memories of that first game, and I played a little bit of the other games with friends. What's your experience with Tekken?
Same thing. I didn't own it myself, but I had a good friend that I grew up around. You know, the kid, you'd always go to his house to play all the video games, the new stuff. And he had a Tekken tag tournament.
Okay.
So I played a lot of that. So visually, there were a lot of things that I'm like, oh, I recognize that.
Yeah.
Story-wise, no.
Yeah, I'm lost in the weeds when it comes to story with these characters. How about you, Cecil?
I played Tekken 1, 2, and 3, and then I played Death by Degrees, which was the Nina Williams spin-off, which was like kind of cool. And then I just I gravitated more towards Dead or Alive.
Okay.
And I mean, it's fun.
Why?
I like the what?
Why?
Can I curse?
Yeah, are we past the first minute on YouTube? Go ahead.
So big tits.
Is that cursing, though?
That's not a curse.
Are you going to beep it just in case? No, just in case. Make him sound
She
like...
kicks high. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't
That's
sure.
all right.
I played beach volleyball.
I played. I imported the third one because it wasn't available because Sony wouldn't allow it to be sold in America.
You gotta get your fix.
I needed my. How crazy are you?
Tekken was interesting because like that was like an interesting time in like fighting games because I think Mortal Kombat was still the 2D digitized graphics. Street Fighter was the cartoon ones, and then Tekken was like the first one I can remember where it was like full 3D.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Virtua Fighter first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't as clunky as not clunky as but Virtual Fighter was more blocky.
Okay.
And then but Tekken was the one that was more.
I thought Tekken's like animated, like like the intro for the game, like the animated scenes were like really awesome. Like I remember just like putting the game on, just watching those.
What is the other one? Battle
Arena to Shinden.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear.
Oh, you never knew Battle Arena to Shinden was great. You have the old guy that like his fatality is you fart.
I think we were talking beforehand, like Eternal Champions. That was like my jam on Genesis. I loved it. Although the CD version, I think, had the fatalities.
CD version
yeah.
was
I mean, they both did, but I think the CD one had blood.
Yeah, the CD one had like better, like
and a better soundtrack.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tekken, very popular game. Took a while for it to be turned into a movie. I feel like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter got movies like within a couple years of existing.
But the Tekken thing, they had been trying to make a movie for that for like well over a decade.
Yeah.
Like it just got delayed because they bought the rights to it. Was it Blue Sky, I think?
I think so,
or
yeah.
Sky Dance or something. One of them, Sky something, had bought the rights and were just, it took forever for it to actually get made. So I think you're on point where they, whereas the other ones did come out a lot faster. This would have been out probably like early 2000s.
Yeah.
If
everything went to plan,
if everything went on, if everything went according to plan.
Because think about like Tomb Raider, like the original Tomb Raider was around the same time. That got a movie like by 2001.
Right.
Which I have an episode of. But yeah, so they finally got to make it, and they got the best team to do it. Dwight H. Little, the director of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
He did Rapid Fire too.
And Rapid Fire. And I think Alan B. McElroy, I forgot to write the name down, the writer of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I should have that tape out here. They've done a lot of action, TV stuff. So Dwight H. Little, apparently his sons really liked the game. So he was like, oh, okay, I'll check this out because of this. He was experienced in like sport movies. So he decided he wanted to focus on realism. Now, I wish I can go back in time and be like, hey, can you ask your sons if that's something that they would like as fans? Because they're probably going to be like, no, we like the panda and stuff. Like, what is this realism?
Where is King?
Yeah, where is King? Although I think that's just a guy in a Jaguar mask.
Yeah, but even still.
Yeah. So they focus on realism. So he got rid of the supernatural elements and the comic relief characters. But that was like my favorite part of Tekken.
But kept the cyborg.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, he got hit and robot things happened.
They kept the cheaper to film cyborg.
Yeah.
Yes,
they didn't have
true.
Jack with the big blonde hair and everything.
Right.
As part of the discussion, that's too expensive.
We'll just add little stuff in post, make it look like he's a robot.
Little glowy bits.
Yeah.
Fine.
Now, Cecil, you know a little bit more about behind the scenes than I do. So how much did this cost again?
This cost $30 million. Now, looking at it, does not look like a $30 million movie.
No.
Apparently, I had did a video review of this like 3-4 months ago, and I had a lot of people reaching out to me afterwards because I was like, I don't know how it cost $30 million. Essentially, what seems to have happened was that they shot the entire film. Somebody didn't like it. I think maybe the parent company didn't like it or whatever, or the studio. Somebody up the food chain did not like it. Made them reshoot the whole thing. So that's why it costs so much money. Now,
So it's like a Solo, a Star Wars story situation. But
Kinda,
that is the most expensive Star Wars movie ever made, but it's like, doesn't look like it. It's like, oh, it's because they reshot it, they hired new actors and everything.
Yeah. They did that too with the Obi-Wan movie. I think I think they shot like 80%
The
of
show.
it. And then Ron Howard came
And I guess
in.
the most famous example is also Exorcist the Beginning. There's 2 versions.
The Obi-Wan series had amazing art, though. I'm just saying.
Oh, it was a great art. It was great art in
yeah.
that. And I actually loved.
very, very. It took me. I'm like
I'm
a
not
minute.
biased at all.
I'm like,
Yoshi, I don't know if
wait,
you
why
know
is
this,
why is he simping for the? Oh, right. You know.
People always know they know that I love all the new Star Wars stuff and I'm up to date on it and I praise it all the time.
Right.
Don't watch any previous episodes.
Did you like Anchorhead? Just saying.
Yeah,
For no reason at all.
it was great. It's my favorite thing.
I have never.
I'm getting a tattoo of it
On the back of my head.
on the back of my head.
I'm gonna shave a reverse mohawk. Have the tower.
So so I guess they reshot the whole movie.
Reshot the whole movie.
I mean, like,
And apparently, and had to recycle, like we were talking when we were watching it earlier, where you were saying like there were parts that were lifted from Triple X, like they were using stock footage from other movies.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to recapture. I'm curious now because I'm like, I want to see what the original looks like, because I imagine if they spent $30 million and they had to reshoot it twice, the first version cost $15 million.
Yeah.
Even the second version look like $15 million worth of movie. It looks like maybe like $5 million.
It's definitely cheaper. It looks a little bit better than you would think, though. I've definitely seen work.
Kept though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Costumes, props, maybe.
Costumes.
I
I'm guessing some of the the overhead digital shots of like the Iron Fist tournament,
LED light strips, and
all the green.
You know what I think it was?
$20 million worth of green fluorescent tubes.
You know, there's that one scene where they're in the hallway and it's all white lights. I bet you that producer was like, "What are those white lights? I want green lights." And they're like, "We can't reshoot that scene." He's like, "Reshoot everything else, and I want green lights everywhere."
Anytime there's a shot with no green,
they digitally add. That was it. $20 million of adding in digital green lights.
Which, by the way, when I watched this the first time at 1 a.m, I didn't notice all the green lights. But when I watched it an hour ago, you pointed it out. I'm like, "Oh my God, you're right. There's so many green lights everywhere."
And it changes direction too. Like there's some scenes where it's like it's coming from the left side, and then all of a sudden it's from the right side because it switched.
They probably shot on different days and moved it around. But anyway, let's get into this wonderful film. I don't know who any of the actors are except for like 2 of them. So let me just get that off the bat right there.
Shang Tsung.
Yes.
Shang Tsung, Hariyuki
Tagawa.
Yes. Who is being typecasted in this film. Although I guess they're trying to trick you with the typecasting because he ends up not really being that character.
Right.
You want
It's
to be
his
Shang Tsung, but like
that's
good?
Yeah, you want to put not like good, but like a less evil Shang Tsung.
You want to be slightly less evil Shang Tsung?
Do you want to be advertised as the villain and then get replaced by a less charismatic actor? And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So yeah, we find out that.
Oh, I don't know. I forget now.
Oh, sorry.
I was just.
So the movie begins, and we see this future war, and again, it's stock footage from like I think Triple X. That beginning with
Oh, what was the other? It was Triple X and it was something else.
the beginning with New York. I think I either read it was like The Siege, a movie called The Siege. It looked like a scene from like Godzilla '98.
It could be The Siege because The Siege was the Bruce Willis where they clamped down the city.
Yeah.
That did have that vibe with all the chain link fences.
Because when you look at everything else, it's like, I doubt they went to New York to get this shot. I'm like, they got this from something.
Yeah. Put all of these shots at the beginning so the whole movie looks a little more expensive.
Oh yeah, well it's a good setup because it does a good bait and switch.
So we find out that the world fell apart because of this war, and all these companies took over. And the companies form one big company called Iron Fist. And one of the companies' name is Tekken, which means Iron Fist. And they do a tournament called Tekken, which means Iron Fist.
Yeah, and it's on the Iron Fist Broadcasting Network.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm like, really? Like, why didn't you change the name up a little bit? Like, what the fuck?
Well, in the games, it's Zaibatsu Mishima is the main, is the corporation that they changed the name to Tekken. Okay. And that just, it seems so silly. Like, it's such a dumb change. Why not just say, the biggest corporation is, Mishima Zaibatsu, and then they run the tournament every year called Tekken.
Yeah.
Instead of, we run Tekken, and it felt like such a dumb change.
It felt very bizarre.
Well, Heihachi is Tekken.
Right? And he reiterates at the very end.
So yeah, we see like a little montage of cool things we're gonna see later on. Then we get 5 days earlier, and we meet Jin Kazama. He's on the run. He's running like stuff to like the rebels or something. There's like our little rebel faction, which reminds me of Running Man. A lot of this movie reminds me of Running Man.
Yeah, he stole contraband that he's selling to.
He survives like a massacre. The Jacks, which are the name of the security force. Are they Jack from the game? I don't think so, but I think it's just a reference.
Who's to say?
They didn't have the money. They spent all their money on green lights instead of Jacks.
For the shot where you see the building.
Yes.
Like, hey, look at
that
this.
was the best. like, there's green everywhere.
He delivers a package to some rebels, and it's like a private internet thing. And then we meet the guy Heihachi Mishima, who's like the bad guy, looking like he does in the game. There are some characters that look like they're right out of the game.
He's not as buff, but
he's not as buff.
Understandable.
Right.
It's not as buff because he doesn't really have a fight scene in this one, so you kind of let that slide. But yeah, he's got the ridiculous hair.
The eyebrows.
Oh, the eyebrows are.
Which I remember when I saw this getting advertised, like Jin, I'm like, okay, that kind of looks like him. And
I
I
gave
saw
him the hair.
Yeah, but then I remember hearing that King wasn't in it, and I'm like, this is not a priority. I'll see it eventually.
Also, I noticed it's something I pointed out to him right away. I'm like, in the game, like Jin has like a commanding voice.
Yeah.
And in here, I said he kind of reminds me of like how Ralph Macchio talks.
Like you could have taken him out of this and put him in like a K-pop band or something. Like he really had that frame and the.
Yeah. Jin is kind of getting bullied by some rebels. They like really want him to join in their cause, and he's like, not interested. I'm thinking only of myself. Then we learned that Heihachi is preparing his son to take over Tekken, but he needs him to be better at security. He's like, you gotta prove yourself to me. And his son is how do you pronounce the name?
Kazuya.
Kazuya. He's played by the guy who played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat Legacy. That was a good show. It was a good show. He's got a very dyed facial hair, like very obviously jet black hair. And then we meet the most important character in the film, Jin's mom. There's no movie.
She is the movie. Seriously, he would have died in the first fight if not for his mom.
I remember those moves.
She has many words of wisdom, which we will learn throughout this film.
Many words of wisdom that normally wouldn't help a regular person, but fight, dodge the punches.
I feel like maybe that's the movie interpretation of what a super bar or meter in the game is. It's like in the game when you reach a full meter, like in real life, you're like, I remember a piece of advice suddenly.
Right. If he hits the two things and circle square.
We should have got Tekken the movie, the game. And that should have been it. Like,
right?
I think there was like a Tekken CG, at least like a half hour made for like, when all the Mortal Kombat games came out. I feel like there was a Tekken something.
Oh, there was an animated movie, I think, because the guy who's like in charge of the games was not allowed to be involved with the movie. Like they just didn't want his involvement at all. Right. So I think they made an animated movie, like kind of out of spite. They were like, all right, we'll do our own fucking thing. Fuck you. Kind of like how they were doing those like CG Resident Evils around the same time the live action movies were coming out.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's mad that he wants to get involved in Tekken.
But he gave her an orange.
He did give her an orange.
He had to do all kinds of parkour.
A lot of people died for that orange.
A lot of people died for that orange and coffee and chocolate.
If you when you showed up here today, like covered in blood, I'd be like, Tony, I got you an orange. So many people died. I would be like, well, thank you, man.
That means so much.
I'm not hungry right now. I'll eat it later. I wouldn't be like, I don't want it.
I appreciate the thought.
Yeah, I appreciate the thought.
I gave up my blue money instead of my green money.
Oh, that's right. There's like different currency.
Different colors of currency. Oh, no. I want the blue money. Yeah. What?
Because the green lights. No, that makes no sense.
It had made no sense. It was just Monopoly money.
And whenever his father gets brought up, it's a sensitive subject. She's like, I don't want to talk about your father. Nothing. I don't know who he is.
Probably because he was like 4 when they hooked up.
We'll learn. Let's wait till we get that twist.
He was a smooth 4-year-old.
So Jin has a girlfriend who has a name, maybe, and he's trying to bang her in an alleyway.
He gave that bitch chocolate.
And then the rebels get attacked, and Kazuya's there, and his security team is taking them all out. Jin's mom is able to beat up some of those guys. She doesn't make it, though.
No.
And this is also a real sign of a bad guy. Kazuya is just like, kill them. And they're like, but our own men are in there. He's like, I don't care. And it's like, but I don't think you needed the rocket to blow her up. Did I miss something? Why did he specifically need an explosion to kill her?
Yeah, they could have shot her.
Yeah.
Like, and saved the other. I mean, the only thing that I could think of was keeping with the theme of the game. The shock troopers, if they were jacks, then maybe they were just robots.
Okay.
So like it was like, I don't care, just kill all of them. You know, make sure that she's dead.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Because
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Because you could be an evil dictator or something, but once you're like openly saying, I don't care if my own men die, eventually your army's going to be like,
Yeah, this guy's not a good
Yeah.
boss.
yeah, it's not a good boss.
Yeah, they're going to rebel. Maybe that was why they were so
Go to
quick
HR.
to turn against him later.
By the way,
Because they
that's
were
a,
like,
that's a whole subplot cut out of Return of the Jedi. Did you know about that? No, that really is. Did you know about this?
no.
God, what's his name? One of the generals of Return of the Jedi, he had like a little character arc where he slowly realizes throughout the film that he's on the wrong side.
Are we the fatty?
Are we the bad?
Yeah, it literally is that. Like, what's his name? Jar Jarrod, I think. But yeah, there was a scene at the end where like the Emperor is just like, blow up Endor, and he's like, but our troops are down there. It's like, I don't care. And
There's
you see
like
the look on his
thousands of
face
people
where he's
down
just
there.
like, I think we're the bad guy. And then he dies with all of them. But I guess they were like, oh wait, we kind of just kill him
mean,
anyway. Let's just cut out this whole subplot.
You know, the whole reason Luke blew up the Death Star was just because he was petty and he was getting back at the Dianaga, you know, to hold him down in the first. And he's like, you know what? Screw those guys. I'm gonna take him out.
Well, they covered that in Clerks. You know, you think the average stormtrooper knows how to install a toilet. Those independent contractors died.
So anyway, they blow up his mom. Again, don't think you needed to blow her up. She
No.
was clearly not putting up a fight anymore. You could have just shot her a little bit and walked out. But yeah, Jin finds out that his
A
mom
little bit. Huh? Shot her a little bit.
Yeah, shot her a little
As
bit.
opposed to a normal amount.
Shot her. You didn't need to like.
That's enough. Just a little bit.
You didn't need to like dump a bag in her. I think like
it
one
was-
bullet would have been fine, right?
I guess it was more
one
dramatic. They had already paid the stuntman
Yeah.
with the wire harness to get launched backwards. So they're like, look, we gotta do this.
So yeah, it turns out she was involved with Tekken, and he's like, something's up. I gotta become a fighter in Tekken to figure out what this mystery is.
She was involved with the tournament, right? Not the guy.
I don't know. Was she involved with the tournament or the company that owns the company?
Or the broadcast.
She was in
the
Iron Fist with Tekken in the
Terrorist
with the candlestick with Colonel Mustard. Wait,
What is it? You know that edit someone did of the Eminem song where they go "Mom Spaghetti" and it just all. As I feel like you could do that with just Iron Fist or Tekken.
Iron Fist, Tekken Iron Fist. Then we get to see Luke Goss, fresh off of Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, and then he got to be in Tekken.
it probably seemed like a good idea at the time, and he's good in it.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
famously in Blade 2, which is I covered before.
And as I recommended to Tony, the very underappreciated Death Race 2, which I'm telling you is so much better. Like the first one, the Jason
Yeah.
Statham one. The sequel cost probably less than that. Like I'm saying, like less than half of that one, and it's so much
If
better.
you're telling me it's the wrong turn 2 of the Death Race
It is.
movies, then I will check it out.
but then,
check it out.
3 isn't really all that good. But 2 is legit good.
yeah, the first one was Paul W.S. Anderson, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
a lot
avoided
of
it.
quick cuts and whatnot. This
Yeah.
second one, I'm telling you, is legit good.
But no, Luke Goss is a good actor. I was telling you guys, he is, to my knowledge, is the most accurate depiction of the Frankenstein monster ever. He was in a made-for-TV Frankenstein movie, and he had like the long black hair and
I
everything.
never saw this.
Yeah, it wasn't that popular.
Fair enough.
When was it?
It was 2004.
Okay, I'm curious though.
Yeah.
Like, cause I do like him a lot.
Yeah, it's a very it's got the guy from what's his face? He's dead now. William Hurt and the guy from the TV Dune. So those two came back for another really long miniseries that's super accurate to a book. But yeah, so he is Steve Fox, who is a character from the game. I don't know anything about the character from the game. Does he
He
look like
is
this?
a fighter.
Okay. Well, they say he was a fighter in this. That kind of works. Look, Raiden was technically a fighter, and then in the movie he didn't really fight. So, you know, you can
Like
get
kind
away.
of
In spirit.
did some lightning and
So he's with the crowd. He's trying to find a challenger to fight Martial Law. Yoshi, can you tell me who Martial Law is played by?
He's played by a professional fighter named Kung Lee, who's also an actor.
Oh, wow.
You know, we've met We were going to work together on a movie. I don't think it ended up going through, or I think the pandemic. It was around the pandemic. So
Yeah.
That's if I remember correctly. That's what kind of stifled it. But yeah,
What else is he? I forgot to look up what else he's in because he looked really familiar.
yeah, he was in I think a movie called Fighting with Channing Tatum.
Okay, I think I've seen.
So
I couldn't tell you anything
He
that
was also
happened.
in is it Man with the Iron Fists or something like that?
Okay, yeah, I saw those.
Speaking of Iron Fists,
yeah,
right?
man with the Tekkens.
This guy. Yeah. So
Okay, that's why he might have looked familiar. I watched those
he
like
had
when
the,
they came out.
the lion mane hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, he's there. He's beating the shit out of everyone. This kind of looks like the scene from like the first X-Men with the cage fight.
Oh yeah, with Wolverine.
Yeah, yeah. Or it looks like the opening of the new Roadhouse movie with fucking Post Malone fighting dudes in a cage.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Martial Law's pants were like accurate to the game.
Yes. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, it's
I'll have to do like side by sides with the characters and see what they look like. I know
It was
like,
one of the ones where they got his pants, they got Jin Kazama's flame pants,
Yeah.
right, and his gauntlets.
Yeah.
They didn't give him the flame jacket though, right? That goes
They didn't
with
give him the
pants.
flame. Yeah, his jacket was just like a leather jacket.
Yeah.
He put it on at the end after he got all beat up.
yeah.
Let's all go get his tattoo together after this.
Yeah,
Oh, I was reading like, isn't that tattoo like some kind of
I am
magic
the
thing
ol-
from the game?
Is it?
So it has like no
I don't
reason,
know.
but I guess they thought it was cool.
they branded him. I don't.
Yeah.
They put Tekken. Iron Fist.
This is where we get the first. Jin is fighting and he's about to lose. And then he flashes back to his mother, giving him advice. Get used to this plot device.
They do it several hundred more times.
How does he like do anything in it? Like, do you think he gets like too drunk one night and he has to go to the bathroom and he forgets like how to take a shit? He's like, "What did my mom say?" And he flashes back. I'm
I
just
thought
thinking
you
like
were
real
going somewhere
Focus
else with that.
and aim and oh right, thanks, Mom.
aim into the ball. Okay.
I thought you
she
were like,
gives
he gets
him-
drunk and tries to hit on a girl at a bar. And remembers his mom, like, oh,
He's gonna-
Well,
like
he
dating
probably
advice.
he could have used some of that when he meets Christy because he's
Yeah.
like, I couldn't help noticing your toes.
he flashes back. Don't point out a girl's toes. It's weird. Ah.
She looks at him like, oh, I didn't expect
butt
you to be.
cleavage only.
Yes, only look at the ass.
So yeah, his mom gives him the power to win the fight, and he wins the open call of Tekken. And this is like the first time this has ever happened.
First time ever.
Why do they even have this thing?
It seems like
Why
they've
do
done
they-
this a lot, and it just keep having the same people fight over and over again.
Yeah, I guess so. This is like again like with the first Mortal Kombat movie. I'm like, what are the rules? What is the progression of who's winning? I never know in this movie.
Just kind of loosey goosey the whole thing.
They're rolling dice at the beginning. They get weapons this round. Yeah.
So Steve wants to sponsor him. He's basically Mickey in this from Rocky. He's like, you need management. You need sponsorships. I can do that for you. And then this scene is bizarre. Kazuya is surrounded by hot babes. Nina and what's the other one? Anna Williams. But he's like really ruining the mood. Talking about how he's like he's upset with his dad.
But he's still going forward.
He's still about to have sex with them, and
He's not gonna. He is.
I had
He's
to,
like,
like-
I'm so mad at my dad.
I had to rewind because for a minute I thought he was still talking while doing doggy style. I'm like, oh no, he stopped talking before that. He still has the disappointed face on.
Right.
I'm like, this
That's
is
his
just
trick, remember? Like
Yeah.
he's not thinking of baseball. He's thinking of like his father's legacy that
He's
pisses
thinking,
him off.
one day I'm going to
Also-
have my father's hair and eyebrows.
Also, we were talking about it. Like, all right, two hot babes, fine. When they're sisters,
And they're not even like half sisters or anything. It's like the creepy.
that's how Pornhub gets around it.
Well, that's how Pornhub- oh,
That's why
yeah.
you need that scene. Yes, my sister
Yeah.
from my
Stepbrother.
dad. Yeah, from a different by marriage. Yeah, that's always weird. I'm like, now I feel weird.
Yeah.
Like I know this is supposed to be a sexy scene, but I feel weird.
Did you want a throwaway line in the movie? Like, they're sisters. And then one of them goes, not by blood.
Yes, exactly. It's
Only half. Well, they did that in another teen movie where it was like, "But you're my sister only by blood," and it's like, oh.
Yeah, so he's sleeping with them, and that's. Are they more characters? The one got her own video game, but in this, it's just like, you're just a blonde, whatever.
Well, in the video games, from what I gathered, I mean, they were two. Well, Nina, the blonde, was like one of the most popular characters. Hence why she got her own video game.
Yeah.
They were taking a little bit of a cue from like Mortal Kombat mythologies.
Oh, God.
Where they were like, we need to make spin-offs of these, and they're kind of half-baked.
We were joking. We were talking about it in the. We reviewed the new Johnny Cage movie, and so many characters from mythologies are in it. I'm just like, it's so funny. A game that absolutely no one liked is so important to the Mortal Kombat lore and story. I'm like, how did that happen?
It was a great idea.
Yeah.
That they just didn't.
They
didn't
really
give
liked the
enough.
story of it.
Yeah. I mean,
The
they
game
put
was
all
really
they
good.
put all their eggs in the story. You know, all the
Yeah.
eggs are one basket of like, look, the story. This is going to be great.
What was the other one? Special Forces.
Special
where you're
Forces with
Jax?
Jax,
You
where
ever
he's
play
got
that
these
one?
giant
Was that better?
metal. No, because the biggest villain in the game. Okay, you are Jax with these metal arms. You could punch through and can't punch down wooden doors. You have to find the key. I'm like, he should be punching through walls. Nope, can't get through there. You got to go find the key. Great.
I hate that in video.
The logic of that.
Yeah.
That's why when Red Faction came out, I was
Yes,
all about
blow a
it,
hole through the wall. Yeah, I love that.
What was that? I was.
Shaolin Monks was good.
Shaolin Monks
was
was
okay.
good.
I thought it was good.
Shaolin Monks was good.
I've been wanting to
There
get
was
a-
the trilogy. It was Shaolin Monks and like the two other. It was a
Yeah.
trilogy.
I want to get.
They're really
I'm
good.
gonna try and get a copy of that game. I really enjoy that one.
It reminded me of like how lonely I am sometimes. 'Cause, you know, you'll play the game and it'll get to a part where it'll have this little secret that says, "You need a friend." So you're like, oh man. Like,
When it comes to invisible walls in game, I think the one that pissed me off the most was like Alien Isolation, where there's just like a table knocked over, and Ripley's daughter's like, "Well, there's no way to walk over that." It's like, what do you? I'm like, just put a wall. Just put like a wall. Don't show me a hallway and then be like, "Oh, the stretcher's knocked over. I can't. Just no possible way."
it must be a thing with Alien games. 'Cause Alien Fire Team. It's
Yeah.
the same with some hallways. They stack a few ammo crates. I'm like, I could totally just hop over this.
I don't even need to jump. I can just like roll over them. They're like not that high.
I can literally step.
Anyway, he talks to his dad. His dad is disappointed in him. He doesn't-
Disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed. He doesn't think he's really ready to take over the company, but he wants Tekken to win the tournament so they could take over Iron Fist.
So Tekken wants Tekken to win so they can take over Tekken.
Yes, pretty
Yes.
much.
That makes sense.
What the? Can I go back in time to Halloween 4 guy and be like, hey,
Dwight H. Little. You don't need to change the name of Tekken.
we gotta change the certain thing. We can't like it's a translation. We know. So the next day we get the fighter roll call. And you had a good point. It should have looked like the select
Yeah,
screen.
it was a missed opportunity to look like the video game select screen, you know. Even if it's using live action
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Because
So
they
we-
kind of overproduced it.
Yeah.
Like where they were like, oh, there's 15 of them, and now the name, and it's
Yeah.
like,
But it wouldn't have gotten as much of a like,
Yeah.
elbow from, gamers.
from they go, oh look, it's the.
So first up, we got Raven, and he's into ninjutsu. I think I remember some of his fighting.
Wait, Raven.
Oh, Raven was Cisco.
Yeah, he looked like Cisco. And
Oh, I was
Well, he was Cisco. Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
he was a merger of the two.
And then there's Eddie Gordo. Which did you have a fact about that actor?
Well, not effects, but I remember seeing him in another movie with Tony Jaa, and as soon as I saw him doing the capoeira, I was like, oh man, if they ever make a Tekken movie, this guy should be Eddie Gordo. And it's like, of course. Like, who else would it be?
We
I
got the
think-
one capoeira. Well, then there's the other because they couldn't bring in the other guy who was in Mortal Kombat, the capoeira guy.
Which one?
The
Well, it's already late at that point, right? I mean, it's already like. how
yeah,
long
I
is
think
that,
he would have
15
been.
years now?
Yeah, I think he would have been too not too old, but too old for the part. Remember the guy with the dreadlocks,
Oh yeah, that just random
the
unnamed
random guy,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
they
yeah,
needed,
yeah.
the
The guy
random
that-
guy he needed to
Who
kill.
growls like a
Yeah,
lion.
it has
Yeah.
a random lion's growl out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I remember the whole time, I'm just like, is that a character? What is that? What is that?
They needed somebody to kill, but they didn't want to upset the audience.
There weren't enough games yet. Like the new one threw in Raiko because no one. No one's sitting there going like, "Oh, they killed Raiko! What the fuck?"
All right, I'm out.
I'm out.
Like,
Fuck
kicks
this.
the popcorn.
They gotta go with every movie horror cliche. We're gonna kill the black dude first. What? You can't do that. We'll give him a lion's roar.
Look, it'll be badass.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it did look kind of badass when he did that little,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this guy's cool. Why have I not heard of it? Oh, that's why.
And then he got like they turned blue when he like sucked his soul out.
So, if you're wondering how engaging Tekken the movie is, we are now talking about a different fighting game in the middle of our review.
better movies,
a better
better
fighting game movie in the middle of our fighting game movie.
which happened during the viewing as well.
Yes.
Anyway,
Except when Christy was on screen, then it was just
well, yeah. Then we get
whatever
Anna
you have
and
to say, ma'am.
Anna and Nina. Who the one is? I thought it was Aikido, but he pronounces it Aikido. I don't know which one's wrong.
I think I'm pretty sure it's a keto.
That's what I thought, but
He says Aikido. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's tomato. I don't know. So he's like, yeah, they're assassins. They're wanted by this, and they're great. And he's like, I feel like he should be like, and I totally had sex with them last
totally
night.
boned both of them. Oh yeah, fist bump.
And
but
then
I was angry the whole time.
but I was angry. Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but I did.
Or no, like I totally had sex with him, and I didn't mention my dad once. And like some guy in the room is just like, what? Why? Did someone ask him about his dad? His dad's in the
I was
room.
thinking about him.
His dad's in the room going like, why did you just say that? Then yeah, Christy Montero is there, who you said went on to play Van Helsing.
Went on to play the gender swap Van Helsing, which
Vanessa Helsing. I had to
Vanessa
look that
Helsing.
up. I'm like, oh, is her last name Van Helsing? I'm like, oh no, wait, her name is Vanessa Helsing.
yeah. It's like a weird alternate time. I don't
just
know.
accept it.
It was an excuse to get a very pretty girl to be doing some ass kicking and whatnot in a TV. It was like it was vampire-y
Look,
Xena thing.
I can't throw stones. In Mummy Cop, I made my Van Helsing a gynecologist. So, he's a doctor in the book, and there was a girl who was pregnant. I'm like, who should the doctor be? I'm like, who's the doctor? Oh, Van Helsing's a doctor. Not one of the better ideas I had in Mummy Cop, although I thought it was pretty funny. Because he basically was dressed as a doctor, but had a big cross and a black hat. It was so stupid. Like we were not trying at all.
So from Mortal Kombat now to Mummy Cop.
more movies.
Hey, there's some pretty good fight scenes in Mummy Cop. All right, I'm pretty proud of a couple of the fight scenes we did.
As you should be.
Yes, and I had to perform it wearing that fucking mask. You know how hard that is?
Was it on par with the sequences from Suburban Sasquatch? We're gonna just go in different movies.
I'm sorry. Did you say Suburban
Sasquatch?
That's an
with
original
Dave
printed
Westcavage.
on paper from Monster Mania 2.
That's awesome.
Because I met him here, and that's how I got into Zombies by Design. But there's a video on my channel where I talked to the director of that. Back to this. Miguel Rojo. He's there. Does something. And then Yoshimitsu, who's like a cool samurai-looking dude. He should have been in the movie more.
Yeah.
He's just badass.
I think he couldn't because he had the armor on and he couldn't really talk. And
Yeah.
So they more than likely, I don't know, but I didn't even look at the credits. But I wouldn't be surprised if like Kung Lee or somebody was in that armor.
Oh yeah.
Real
Quick. Speaking of fighting, I hope you guys don't mind. I am hosting a dog fighting tournament in the video store basement. You can probably hear them fighting. I think that one's winning. Just do me a favor. Don't rat me out to the cops, okay? I got a lot of money riding on this. Actually, I'm going to go check on that dog fighting ring in the basement. It's definitely not my sister's goddamn dogs that I'm babysitting. Hold on. I never saw a Chihuahua kill a Great Dane before, but
My
there
goodness.
it was. Whew. Anyway,
Was it like the Chihuahua from Blade 2?
yes.
Oh, I'm
No,
sorry,
three,
Blade 3. Blade 3 was the Chihuahua.
Yeah, but I've also never seen a Chihuahua that was that much bigger than a Great Dane.
Look, I might be pumping drugs into the dogs of my illegal dog fighting ring. So yeah, Yoshimitsu, he's badass. He's a samurai. He's just kind of there. And then
armor and a sword for some reason.
yes, he's allowed to have armor and a sword.
No one else.
And then Brian Fury, who is the reigning Iron Fist Tekken champion, who's definitely not a cyborg. He's a cyborg.
He's a cyborg.
So yeah, Jin gets a new outfit, which he doesn't want at first. Oh, he gets the outfit after he gets scanned by a green light.
Yeah. It scans his abs to check his DNA.
Yes.
Not even like a needle.
Which then
With a green laser.
yeah.
right, yeah, it scans like his junk. It's just like, all right, yes.
By the way,
okay.
is that like an X-ray? Like fucking Steve is just standing next to him. Like, should he have like a lead vest on? What the hell's going on here?
I don't think they have that much like safety at Tekken Inc.
So yeah, he goes and hits the gym where all the other fighters are, and he goes up to Christy Montero, and he's just like, "Hey, you have nice toes." And then he tries to save face. He's like, "Oh, because the fighting style you use, you need good toes for it." And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
The writer's barely disguised fetish gives them an excuse to no look at her toes.
So stupid. Okay, the tournament begins, and everyone poses for the crowd. They're like all going out one by one. We get our first fight between Raven and Eddie Gordo. This fight's not great. Some of the fights are really cool in this movie, but this one is like a lot of crash zooms. We got to keep crash zooming on the audience, crash zooming on them, and then the camera's like really quick, and then it's super slow motion. It's just very jarring. I don't know. Did it do anything for you guys? How did you feel about it?
I mean, I thought it was cool that the guy was Eddie Gordo.
Just like seeing Eddie Gordo.
Like, called it.
What if the movie was just called Eddie Gordo and it was just like him hanging out with
That'd be
friends?
cool.
He
I mean,
never fought anyone.
That's the guy everybody could use because you just mash the buttons. Oh, he's doing spinny stuff. Look at that.
He's standing on his hands and kicking with his feet. I thought it was pretty weak to kind of get you excited for Tekken because it's like, all right, here comes Tekken.
Yeah.
We can't really see the fight that
Yeah,
well.
it's not a very good like first fight.
It's just a shame. It's because they can move,
Yeah.
and it's like you're filming them the way you film the people who can't fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I do like, since they weren't going to do multiple locations, I do like the idea of like the stage and the hologram, but they couldn't.
Which they never explain how it works.
Yeah, Yoshi had a problem with them switching like the setups in between fights, and it's like
Because it was minutes.
yeah, it was
But
very.
and they
quick.
don't even show how it happens. There's
Yeah.
not like a quick, cheap hologram effect.
Yeah.
Anything. It's just like, announce me.
If this was made like now with like a little bit more of a budget, like a hole would have opened up, it would have lowered, and a new one would have came out easily. I like the idea of like the hologram background. I'm like, that's a cool way around it. But then as soon as the fight starts, they get rid of the background. I'm like, oh, okay.
I would have liked it if like a bunch of Teamsters came out and they're working on it, and like as they're fighting, there's one guy there like, "Hey!" You know, he's still hammering some nails in.
Yeah, that's what we brought it during the movie. Right? Like if it was like a a NASCAR pit crew, like super fast,
Yeah.
just changing the set real quick, and you get to see it.
Or nanites. There you go. Just they come in.
Careful with Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, sorry.
The Shaun of the Dead episode, Tom kept knocking over Leonard Nimoy. He did it like 3 times. So yeah, Raven wins. Then we get Miguel versus Jin. This fight is a little bit better.
Yes.
I think we enjoyed this one more. And Miguel screams out, "This is Iron Fist." And then I thought it was Tekken. Isn't the tournament Tekken?
Well, no, the tournament's Iron Fist.
Oh God, I'm so confused.
No, they're Tekken. They're in Tekken fighting the Iron Fist.
Okay. Got it.
But he does the, "Do you know where you are?
You're in the jungle.
You're in the jungle,
Iron
baby.
Fist.
You're in the Tekken, baby."
And I like this part where, Brian being a cyborg is like the worst kept secret because Christy's like, "Okay, cyborg." He's like, "What did you say? What did you say?" It's like me trying to hide that I have an illegal dog fighting ring, even though you can clearly hear the dogs barking off camera.
He's already dead.
He's already dead.
But yeah, I'm not a cyborg. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Like,
Cyborg, that must be one of your human jobs. Stole that joke from Lost Skeleton. One of your Earth jokes.
Yeah. One of your Earth jokes.
So I'm sorry, remind me. Jin is about to lose the fight. What does he do to win the fight again?
He has a flashback with his mom.
Oh!
Giving him the most generic advice possible.
Mama.
Just killed him. All right, so my theory is, Cecil disagrees with this theory, but I feel like this came out a year after Slumdog Millionaire, where every time he gets to a new question to answer the question, he has to recall a moment in his life that led to that answer, and I feel like that's it. Like every time he has to get in the fight, he has to recall a moment with his mom.
But it would make more sense if it was like, if they would have put a little bit more effort into it. This guy, he punches low and you have to do this. But no, it's just like, you must focus. You know, it's the most, like,
It's not even like a wax on, wax off.
right, it's not even a wax on, you know, use this kick or do the, no, it's
It
just
really is
do
like,
this.
Attack his weakness.
it
That's a
should
good
be like,
idea.
it should be like previous fights he had growing up,
Right.
and his mom
Isn't
being
that
like,
literally what she says?
She
in one of
does
the
at
shots?
one
She
point.
says like,
She's like, attack his weak point.
yeah, that's at the very
massive
end.
damage.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Here's this giant enemy crab.
thanks.
I'm glad I remember that.
It's like
Yeah,
that
I
old,
would have. Oh my god, I was gonna lose, but attack his weak
like-
point.
it's like that
I
old,
never thought of that.
what was it, that old manual for Doom where it's like to kill the bad guy, shoot bullets into it until it's dead. It's like, oh, thanks. I would have never thought.
Yeah, it really, like, I think that they just kind
Yeah.
of shot whatever scenes with her in like 2 days.
Yeah.
and then they just put like a filter on it and
A
threw-
weird filter too. It was like glowy,
Yeah.
but then it had like a texture on it. It was bizarre.
I guess that's so we remember that she's dead.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because
yeah.
if they just showed it like straight up, be like, wait, why is his mom there?
I think
like,
it's.
You know,
I think we all assumed she was dead. She got hit by a rocket.
she did get hit by a
the only
rocket.
scenes without a green light, right? Or
Although I think it did have a little bit of a green tint to it.
Now,
you might be right.
Now, here's earlier. Christy calls Jin out for looking at her ass, but then we realize why he was looking at her ass. It's because she's wearing pants that
Backwards. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't know how right you are.
Oh my god!
So yeah, it's highlighting her coin slot, her butt crack. Now, why would they have this? So I read, I shit you not, the actress didn't understand the pants and she wore them backwards.
No.
And the director liked it, thought it was good, and decided she will wear her pants. This is what I read. Because I have seen pants like that cut
Yeah.
down like deep, but
That
like
have
not in the back. So I think,
Man, I was kidding too.
yeah, no.
That's amazing.
Again, unless this is like a myth that I read, but apparently she wore the pants backwards, and they decided, nah, we like that. You're wearing that for the whole time.
well,
I mean, when is the part with the string ever
well, they had
in
this
the bag?
but they showed the pants from the front, and there was a string there too.
Yeah,
So,
but like you're supposed to have like the V there. But yeah, she just.
but wouldn't it have been? I don't know about like. I mean, it sounds hilarious, but wouldn't it have been weird in the front? You know, because it would have had like the extra there for like the ass.
I love that when it comes to the subject of her coin slot, as you put it, it's the longest movie has been discussed without bringing up another movie.
It's Christy Montero's pants.
Yeah.
Is the greatest thing in the entire
It
movie.
really, and they know they keep zooming up
They
on
keep
it.
zooming in on
I
her
honestly think she
smuggling
did wear them
hams.
backwards, and they were like, "This is too funny. We got to keep this in."
They look great. She's the only person to wear pants backwards
Although-
that they look better.
Although it's a little too much for me. Like we were talking about,
Like a stovepipe for farts.
So we do I do a show on Patreon and for YouTube members called Blade Boys. We're watching every episode of the Blade TV series, which is on Spike TV. But we keep talking about how like Spike TV tried to be like too sexy, where it was just like, all right, this is too much to a point where it's weird. This is how I feel about the pants with the ass crack cleavage. I'm like, this is too much. I feel like I don't like this. I feel like I should like it.
I was all in on the. I'm like every movie needs Christy Montero's pants.
Look, if she like bent over and we saw a little bit of crack, fine. But the fact that the pants were specially made to highlight just that, I'm
And
like, why?
the camera went.
And then later on in the club, she has a black variant of the same.
They were her clubbing ass pants.
Also, coin slot. I got that from like a Saturday Night Live skit. I think it's one with Lindsay Lohan years ago. It's the first time I ever heard that term. So anyway, enough about her ass.
now.
Kazuya tries to figure out who Jin is. He's like, I've seen your moves before. Who is your father? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, I'm going to find out, you asshole.
Well, it's a good thing we scanned your stomach.
Good thing we put that green light on
green shit on your abs, and now I'm going to know who your dad is.
He's going to scan his own abs now and be like, oh, perfect match.
It's a perfect match.
No one this could be but my son.
He has his father's abs.
For fighters, that's like a fingerprint. You know? It's like the way the abs look.
So yeah, Jin, while he's looking up the DNA, Jin and Christy, they sneak out to a club.
Where everybody knows them.
Everyone knows them. They're like, we're not supposed to leave. It's like, only if we don't get caught. But then they're not.
immediately-
Where should we sneak out to? Where everybody.
And then she's like, look at my dance moves. And then you're looking and you're like, okay. Like, all right. They're
Yeah.
fine, I guess. Like, nothing really is blowing me away here.
Nobody had the heart to tell her that she stinks. That's it. She's so good looking. They're just like, look, you whatever. You know, just keep wearing those pants.
Your
You can-
fighting's better.
Your fighting is better than your dance moves.
But Jin, he looks at these dance moves and like, wow, she's very attractive, but my heart belongs to another. Just kidding. He makes out with Christy. He forgets he has a girlfriend.
Did she ever come up again? I don't remember.
Yeah, she shows up toward the end.
Yeah,
Oh.
She
It's
shows
very
up actually-
awkward.
Yeah, she shows up during like the last couple of fights where
Yeah.
she's in the audience like all I hope my
And then
man
it's implied
wins.
they're gonna have like a nice little reunion at the end. I'm like, I hope he doesn't mention his new girl to her.
Who is this?
Yeah,
No one, my
you
friend.
got some splaining to do.
They make out a little bit. She's like, I'm gonna leave. We'll hook up later, and also I might have to fight and kill you later. We'll figure out what happens. And he gets attacked by assassins and strobe lights. Because we theorize that these girls probably weren't the best at fighting.
No.
Yeah, but like Christy, I like Christy like grabs like a dumbbell like to break the window to get back in there, and she saves him. So yeah, they want Tekken wants Jin dead. They don't want him succeeding.
Pretty terrible assassins though.
Yeah, they really bad. He hyped them up so much.
Like,
and
oh,
they-
they're wanted by everyone. And they couldn't fight this dude with a boner who like, like they could have shut the lights out and shot him.
Yeah.
You know, but no, they attack him and then
Okay.
the girl throws a dumbbell and they run away.
Yeah.
But they used a rocket to kill the mom.
Yeah, why didn't they just use a rocket?
Right.
I was like, hey, did we get any more? Nah, it was a one-time thing. All right.
Yeah. We don't have any more rockets in the budget.
We spent all the money on these fast-changing fighting arenas.
We learned that Steve knew Jin's mother. He's like, your mother was June? Right? What was her name, right?
June, I think. Yeah. J like Jun with
Yeah.
a little
I
tilde.
think so.
Who was frozen in the game or no?
Well, no, she's the one that blew up, right?
Oh, no, in the game.
Oh, in the game.
They freeze somebody in the game. They freeze the women to keep them young.
Oh no! Well, that was the Nina and Anna. They
so
froze them,
both of them, huh?
and brought them back like later so that they were still hot.
Yeah. I mean, none of the guys are like, yo, dude, I want to be young.
No, because they could be old and all Sean Connery'd up, and still sexy.
Also, I didn't realize it took me a minute to realize that the assassins, they were his like sex ladies. I'm like, wait, it didn't occur to me till right then and there.
They can kill it in more ways than one, man. Come on. It writes itself.
But that's the thing. They're his sex slaves
Yeah.
essentially, who work for one of the competitors.
Yeah. It's very bizarre.
It
It's
is.
very bizarre. So yeah, the next day, Christy has to fight Nina Williams. And now Chris, I guess she's just like, I like your boyfriend. She's like, I don't share. It's like, oh, you guys are official now? She had like one drunken makeout in the hallway, but I guess that's enough to
how it
seal the
works.
deal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay.
It's the Disney rule.
Yeah, so they have a girl fight, and it's not a good fight. This is another one where
Some shots have like 2 kicks before they
The-
cut it.
yeah.
When you're like, look, oh, now they're scissoring. I just lost it.
You were talking like, why don't they have
Why
to
would
fight
they
a
fight?
guy?
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I get it now.
And then does she die, or is she just knocked
She just
out?
kicks her in the face.
And you pointed out the other sister disappears, never has a fight or anything.
Right, because what happened was, if you look at all the fighters, it's an incorrect amount for a bracket tournament. So they had to lose somebody because there would have been an odd one out, you know? So yeah, they just were like, well, Anna.
Someone had like a standby ticket.
Yeah. Hey, if this one dies, we can come in.
Well, at least it's not like, again, the first Mortal Kombat movie where there's just like a million fighters on the island. That's my favorite. Shang Tsung is like, I can choose whoever I want to fight. It's like, you should choose that flannel shirt guy. He looks like he'd be easy to kill. Instead, he's like Johnny Cage. I'm like, no, flannel shirt guy.
no.
You could have
you
fought
must
the
fight.
lion roar guy at the beginning and just called it a day. Like,
Anyway,
He could have, really made this thing short. I win because I get to pick everybody.
that's when you have to do a thing where it's like, well, everyone's dead. You have to pick one of the other guys.
Liu Kang, you versus me and Goro.
Do you think maybe it was a thing where maybe they were like a 2-for-1 deal? But then they were like, none of these girls can fight. We got to limit it to just 2.
Yeah, they're like, look, they're willing to kind of get a little bit naked, but not really, and they're gonna have sex with him. But yeah, I think that was probably what it was because like in the games they're separate characters. They are sisters that work together, but in the games they are separate characters. So yeah, I think that was kind of what it is. It was like, well, we have to bring them in because of their popularity.
Yeah,
but nobody really likes Anna as much as Nina, so we got to throw her in. Maybe the movie was R.
Yeah.
So they could have.
Doesn't feel
I
like
don't
it
remember
is.
seeing anything though, right? I don't really show
There's a little bit of blood. There's not a lot of nudity.
There's
no nudity. I mean, there's the butt
chocolate
cleavage.
kiss nipples.
He pointed out that the
Kid
actor's nipples were very dark, and then it reminded me of Kung Pao, where he's like, my nipples look like milk duds, and I was like, Yoshi, I can't stop looking at them now.
Like little chocolate kisses. It's like his chest is staring at you like the whole time. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
I hope that actor's watching this right now. I'm like, what? They're not that bad.
I can take
He's
him.
gonna go have them bleached.
I'm gonna go bleach my nipples.
Bleach my nipples. You give him a conscience.
Or gets it darker out of spite.
I have dark chocolate nipples.
Give me the Janet Jackson piercings too. Screw this guy.
Well, speaking of him, he's chatting with Brian, who is confirmed to be a cyborg now. He's, again, not really hiding it. If you're breaking the rules and you don't want to be caught, maybe don't start jamming cinder blocks over and over again.
Well, I think more jamming cinder blocks.
Styro blocks.
Styro blocks.
He doesn't even pretend to carry them as if they have any weight. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's to show that he's a cyborg and
Yeah.
super strong or something, but it's like, it's a super
just-
light thing.
Picks him up with his pinky. He just drops it down. Brah!
But yeah, they just have a scene where he's like, make sure you win, guy, or we're screwed. Then Jin has to fight Yoshimitsu, and he's gifted Steve's power gloves.
They're so bad.
They're so bad. I don't know what the significance of the gloves are in the game. Like, are they just
Don't they like
No,
have
they're-
electrical stuff, or is that him?
I think it's him.
okay?
Because it's his character that has them, and he does because the electric stuff kind of comes from all over. So I think
okay.
I don't know if they ever explain that. Like I said, I didn't play all the games.
Oh, gotcha.
Because
But-
movie.
Because movie, yeah. Well,
But
they
this-
made it. I mean, it looks aesthetically, it looks cool.
Yeah. Looks
like
and
the game.
it made the fans happy.
Yeah, I remember seeing like the previews and stuff. Like, oh, looks just like him
Right.
for the most part. But yeah,
Yoshimitsu looked awesome, I think.
yeah, Yoshimitsu looks so
and this
cool.
was one of the best fights in the.
Yeah, this fight was awesome. So he's got that what is it?
pole arm thingy.
Naginta, I think it's called, with the big blade on the end of the stick. I don't know if that's what it's called. And then the sword, pretty badass fight. And then during this, Kazuya is just like, I'm the head of Tekken now. And Heihachi's like, what? And then the security's like, oh yeah, he's like, you put me in charge of the security, so they listen to me. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that works, but apparently that's how it works.
Yeah, I think there's a hierarchy.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's very bizarre. So he like overthrows him, and he's just like, "What? This is not an honorable fight." Ah! And then during this, I do think he gets another flashback, but
Also,
the real winner is Heihachi causes a distraction that like Yoshimitsu's like, "Huh?" And this gives Jin the upper hand. Then Jin like kicks him in the face and just breaks his face and actually kills him. Like, he's dead now. He's the first guy to die in this tournament, I think. And then everyone, at that point, they're just like, arrest all the Tekken fighters. Everyone needs to be arrested. They're trying to get out of the city.
Because you can't kill someone in a fight to the death. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're captured. Kazuya decides, he's like, hey, our ratings like skyrocketed when you broke Yoshimitsu's face. So all matches will be death matches going forward.
I find it hard to believe that in however many years that they've been doing this, like where there really isn't any particular rules that nobody died before, like
Yeah, no weight class.
no weight.
Yeah, there's no weight
No
class.
men's, women's
No weight-
division.
Exactly.
Weapons, armor.
Yeah, I feel like multiple people
Inevitably,
would have.
unless this was like the second tournament ever.
Yeah.
He's
Like
gonna
it
slash at you with a
almost
sword.
never happens in the real world, but like it has happened, and those are way more regulated.
Yeah.
So yeah, they make a deal with Heihachi to free him, and he'll give him like information or help him escape or something. He tries to argue that he's not such a bad guy. He's like, I'm not so bad. We saved the world. And it's like, nah, you kind of suck, dude. He's like, nah, I'm pretty awesome.
Have you not seen my eyebrows?
Yeah,
I am Tekken.
I am Tekken. But he also tells you, like, hey, I saved your mother. My son abused her and whatnot, and I saw that she was suffering, so I threw her out in the wasteland. Like, okay. I'm like, all right, it's not, I guess, but
Well, I mean, considering he threw his son off a cliff, you know, and
She was one of the strongest fighters, which is why he probably used the rocket.
that's it. If she wasn't like, yeah, she could have kicked bullets out of the way or something.
Yeah.
They needed to use a rocket.
But yeah, he hates his son, so he's like, grandson, you're next in line. Like, I need you to survive and win to overthrow him. So you have the Jax attack, and then this is where Steve gets shot. Kind of unceremoniously. Like, does anyone even
Yeah.
warn him? He just dies. They're like, all right.
Yeah, he kind of beats up like some of the henchmen. And,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
give
and
him a
then-
fight
and
scene.
then they, you know, yeah, because then Cisco gets shot, like worse.
Yeah.
But then they needed him to come back to give the pep talk.
They really screwed up the writing there.
He held his shoulder, though, man.
Yeah.
I got shot.
so stupid.
But it should have been Steve. Really,
It should have been, yeah. But yeah, he orders his men to kill Heihachi, but he, in classic James Bond fashion, he doesn't wait around to see if he actually gets killed. He just
go
walks
kill
away.
him.
I just assume he'll die, and
Because
then,
he can do the cool guy walk away from the explosion.
yeah, from the explosion.
you know.
Even though he sent him out to get shot. Did he do a thing again? Or he's like, no, that bullet might not work. Hey, blow up the guys who are about to shoot my dad.
Right.
Another rocket, please.
Like, sir, we're running out of rockets. Like, what the fuck, man?
What do you do with all these rockets? I killed my family. One rocket per.
So the next day, Sergey has to fight Brian, and Brian wins by using a big chain with barbed wire
Like
around
yanks
it.
his head off.
Yeah, well, his head doesn't come off.
Yeah,
his
they-
neck
Well,
is like-
but I'm saying he
it feels like his head should have came
The
off.
next shot,
Yeah,
it's just like some blood.
Yeah.
It's not even like a I get it.
It's not
fine.
as
It's okay.
gnarly as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, because they show like the thing, and it's like it makes like a clunk, and
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, and then yeah, it does show him. He's still got a head on. I don't know, maybe his head coming off got him an X or something, you know?
Jin tries to fight Kazuya, fails. Then they take Christy hostage, even though she's one of the fighters. I guess she's just not in the tournament anymore.
Well, she only had to fight the one time.
It's just the one girl,
the
I
one-
guess.
yeah.
I'm like, shouldn't she technically progress? She's still in fighting.
Like I mean, realistically, she should be fighting.
I feel like the other companies of this thing are gonna be like, hey, this tournament was not up to like regulation. What the hell? You guys were making up rules on the fly. Like, this didn't seem fair.
And it was the second day, and Yoshimitsu's fighting for the first time.
Yeah.
And Jin's fighting for the second time. It's
Yeah.
like, well, who did Yoshimitsu? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they really.
Although it doesn't seem like the dad was really organizing it, because he's like, never mind, I changed my mind. This match would be better for the semifinals. And it's like, wait, you just do that what's the point of randomizing it at all?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Okay, yeah, this is the part where Raven is suddenly a character. He's like, hey man, you gotta like punch good or whatever the hell he says. But it's just like,
He gives him a talk about as good as his mom. You know?
like they wrote themselves into the corner. They're like, well, we killed the mentor, and we kidnap the girlfriend. Like, who's alive? Like, Raven will give the pep talk. I'm like, why?
Raven, they haven't talked before.
Yeah,
at
Raven
all.
should just be like, man, I hope I can go home. Like, this sucks.
I almost died.
I guess
was supposed to be fighting in a tournament. Now they're shooting at him?
Yeah, well, I didn't sign up for this. I got to call the boss and be like, hey, this is not going well. You should invade. You should invade Tekken City and get me out of here. And then, of course, Jin has more flashbacks. Goes up against Brian.
Okay, but to be fair,
Yeah.
this time, at least some of them were before the fight.
It was before the fight.
He didn't have to start getting his ass kicked to jog his memory.
Well,
But
they
he
knew-
still got his ass kicked.
Still, he's like, I'm gonna forget a little bit of this.
Look, they knew that was the final boss, so they made sure he filled up on supplies before.
That little room before the boss fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the save room. Yeah, with
Or like the new Resident Evils. They're like, hey, if there's anything you want to upgrade now, do it now, because once you go in that room, you're fighting a monster. So it's like, if you have anything you need to remember from your mom, now is the time to remember.
Ha! I saved one memory.
So yeah, he realizes he's up against a cyborg, but you pointed out, like, Brian's previous fight, he was taking hits.
Well, even in this fight, Jin was like hitting him and kicking him, and he wasn't even budging.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't want to say it was hurting him, but it's like he couldn't get through.
Yeah.
So then he goes to the top of the cliff, and I guess that's what his mom told him to do in the flashback, because I don't know.
That
but-
was real bizarre.
jump off a cliff.
So he jumps. No, is this the part where she goes, hit him in his weakness?
Yeah, okay.
Because he did the little with his arm.
So his arm gets broken, then he fixes it. And by the way, he's wrapped bandoliers around his hand.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
he was allowed to carry into the fight?
Yeah. And then she's like, look at his weaknesses and exploit them. I'm like, I'm not sure what his weakness was, because he fixed his arm pretty quick. What was the weakness?
It's if you jump off a cliff and knee him
Is
in the
that
head.
that wasn't spelled?
It's a good thing that they had that particular setup, because otherwise he might have lost. But they have this big cliff that he can climb all the way up, and meanwhile, like, he's standing there just waiting
He's
for.
stunned.
He's stunned. All he had to do was move like 2 inches to the right, and he would have lived.
But look, he was going to survive because everyone was cheering for him
That's right.
back home. Even his girlfriend, who doesn't realize that he's with someone else at the moment.
His flame pants prevented his knee cap from shattering into
That's
a million
right.
pieces
Yeah.
when he hit this like steel skull.
But
And
he wins.
Jumped off, 20 feet down
Yeah.
into a robot,
Yes,
essentially.
the robot made of steel cushioned his fall. So he
Well, see, you know what the thing is, though? Like you were saying earlier, where the director like got rid of all like the silly stuff and
Yeah.
the like, by making it more serious, that's going to make it so that we're more critical about
Yeah.
this. Because if he played it a little bit tongue in cheek and embraced the silliness, we wouldn't be like bitching about this kind of.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, he jumped off a cliff and hit him because he's a robot.
He's,
but,
like, super
but I mean, if there
powerful.
was like a kangaroo out there with
Exactly.
boxing gloves and
I would have even taken the wooden dummy.
Right.
Like you could make a practical suit of that.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem that complex or hard to do.
yeah.
yeah, like,
I
but
forgot about the dummy.
yeah, the
I would
wooden
have been
dummy.
happy
Oh
with
my god, I forgot that was a thing.
That was a thing.
I'm gonna play some old Tekkens later.
Tekkens.
They're still fun.
Multiples. I think I
you
own
can't.
it.
Well, if you can find,
Well, I think I own it digitally.
So do I. I have that
A
play.
Tekken tag tournament.
I have
360.
that PlayStation thing.
Or we can play Mortal Kombat.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, I have that PlayStation where you can get like the classic stuff to play like the older games. I wonder if they have that on there.
PlayStation Plus or whatever.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus, but then it's like another add-on where you can do all the
I also
classics.
have my laptop with me.
What? Who?
So we can watch videos of these games.
Yes.
Oh, well, obviously.
On
What else do
YouTube.
we use them for?
We watched the movie and then cut off the very end.
we don't torrent movies that don't get all of the post-credit sequence there. We don't torrent games, and we don't host illegal dogfighting rings in our video
Absolutely not.
stores. We're good boys. Because we flash back to our moms telling us that was wrong.
In the future, movies will be digital. Don't steal them.
So Kazuya's just like, what? We lost? Nah, I'm entering the ring. And now it is a completely
he's got
different
the
ring. It's got
X's.
like a little building and stuff in
Yeah,
there.
that's what I was saying earlier when he goes like, announce me. And like all of a sudden now it's a different area where they find like, did someone really quickly be like, oh shit?
So again, there's another fight, and then they do the same thing where someone in the control room causes a distraction that gives Jin the upper hand. It's like,
Is that the tag part?
is that part of the tag tournament?
But I will say the Kazuya fight is like one of the worst.
It's pretty bad.
It's so
bad.
just like you think he's gonna come out. Oh, they're really gonna go, and they're like, and then you get the distraction. He wins.
It's a lot of the cliche like cut almost.
Right.
Oh wait, I was gonna say, does Jin have a scar in the
he
game?
gets him with the. I don't think so. He doesn't have like the dragon fist,
Sagat scar.
Sagat scar.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I don't think so.
I thought maybe that's what they were doing with the cut, but I might be confused.
I don't know. A lot of people have scars in that movie and game.
That's true. That's true.
Cisco.
Yeah,
On
he
his
had the X, but I think he put that there to make it look cool. I don't think that happened for real.
But he spares his father
Yes.
for some reason.
Because he doesn't kill people starting then.
Starting now. Yeah. I only kill people that deserve it.
I'll kill like just mindless henchmen, but actual tyrannical leaders, they deserve a second shot. It's like, wait, no, I think you. Hold on, can we bring back the samurai?
The tyrannical dictator that can escape and hire more henchmen to go out. And,
So you have the side story with some like mom and a kid. Like, where's daddy? Oh, he doesn't want to work for that company, but we need to pay the bills. Oh, he's dead now.
But it's okay. The guy who killed him learned that killing was wrong.
Right.
After he murdered your father.
And he let the boss henchman that hired your dad live. Because they're related.
yeah. He's my daddy, and I'm going to fix him. And then flashback, Mom, what do I do? You must. Oh, thanks, Mom.
By the way, we kept forgetting. It was driving you nuts. Every time they announced Jin, they would say the people's choice.
Yes.
Because he won the open call. So the whole time they're always like, Ed Jin, the people's choice, the people's choice. So of course it's the big moment where Christy, none of the security guards stop her on the way to the ring. She's like, the people's choice is now the people's champion. Cut to the Rock theme song, but not really because WWE will copyright claim it. Yeah, so the whole time I kept waiting for him. I'm like, they got to say people's champion. At some point, they got to say people's champion.
Well, the whole thing with the people's choice, like we were saying, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The people didn't choose him.
No.
He went in there, he signed up, he went in and he won the fight. And
he's lucky that we forgot the most important character, White Boy, who is a big burly dude who just has the word white boy written on his shirt.
Oh, was that the guy? He was played by the guy from Harold and Kumar?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. I just called him Tank Abbott.
Yeah, he's just a guy named White Boy. He walks in, he sees martial law, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good," and then he leaves.
But the thing is, he didn't know like that he was gonna because it's not like they don't broadcast.
Yeah,
this it looked like it was always. I mean, the way that they implied it was that you would fight martial law.
Yeah.
And if you lose, then martial law goes in and he fights.
Yeah.
So it's not like he didn't know that he goes it. Oh wait, I'm not fighting this guy. Like, it felt like they needed to put somebody else in there, but they didn't feel like filming another fight.
So this movie raises a lot of questions and mysteries. But yeah,
I hope there's a sequel.
A prequel.
Prequel.
It's a prequel.
Yes. A prequel where the bad guy is now the good guy because reasons.
Do we see the flashbacks being made?
Yes.
I certainly hope so.
There's another prequel that's just all the flashback scenes from this, just in chronological
It's
order.
Jin playing Xbox or PlayStation or something, and his mom going, hit him in the weak spot, and that's where the actual memory is.
So yeah, the Jacks now answer to Jin. He's the head of Tekken, I guess. I didn't realize that was the prize for winning, but it is. He meets up with his girlfriend who's waiting for him.
She's very excited.
He's like, I'm poly now.
She can't wait to find out what he's been doing for the past week.
And I'm sure Christy can't wait to find out that he's already in a relationship. I know girls love that. So yeah, then there's a post-credit sequence.
I didn't get to see all of it. My copy cut off.
That's the funniest thing, is that originally, like, you see Heihachi and then it cuts off before they show him dying. And then we're like, no, Yoshi, there's a post-credit sequence. And then we play it and then it cuts off
right as he's... It was like the Sopranos ending, you know, where he's in mid-word and it cuts.
My name is Heihachi.
I am here, boom.
You will obey. Oh, that seemed like a good cliffhanger.
So yes, in case you were wondering, the guy does obey. He puts his gun down, and I guess it implies that they get him out of there before it blows up.
Which has no bearing because he's not in the prequel. So.
No, he is in the prequel.
Well, no, I meant like he's not, like it doesn't, like if it was a sequel.
If it was a sequel, that would have made sense. I can't believe they got him to come
right.
back for the second movie.
So how do we get funding and licensing together to make this sequel?
I don't know. He's getting up there in years.
Okay. He doesn't have to do anything. He just sit there.
Yeah. Like,
you swear they don't do that all the time.
Well, we could do, I mean, because what year was this, 2006?
No, this is 2009. The prequel is 2014.
But what I'm saying is that we can now, we'll get the money to do the sequel, and we'll just say it's 20 years later. And, you know, and he can be old. Yeah. And now we can be like, you know, he's taking it back from his no good son.
Yeah.
Or we can de-age him, but use like video game footage. Use like the video game face.
No, yes.
No, Shang Tsung.
We'll put his face on a digital model from the game, and of course, it's going to be the one from the cutscene where he's a butler in a Speedo. I want that one.
Oh, I was going to say from like the first Tekken where he's all blocky.
Either one.
Keep him blocky.
I like Speedo more.
You like Speedo? Okay.
We'll mix it. He'll be Speedo high poly from the waist down and blocky on the top.
And that is Tekken, the movie. It's something. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I like it in spite of itself. I think that it could have been a lot better, yes. Yeah. But it was fun. It was better than a lot. I mean, there are some really bad video game movies out there. And I mean, honestly, it probably would be looked at a little bit more friendly if it wasn't taking a license. Like, I mean, because so many people are like, you know, this is not Tekken. Yeah. And it is sort of. It's, you know, I mean, they took a lot of licenses, but it's fun. And Christy Montero's pants.
It's backwards pants.
It's backwards pants and Jin's abs. That we all want.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I enjoyed it in the context of, you know, like watching it, knowing what you're going into. Yeah. You know, a good bad flick, if you will. You know?
Right,
may know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, right.
Can you hack this movie for us?
I mean, it's possible. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. There's a lot of little choices they made that I brought up while we were watching that I thought was pretty clever. Like when they put Heihachi in jail, and it's like two angled wrought iron fences. I'm like, well, that could look cheesier, but the fact that they angled it. It just gives it a little more.
I thought the production design, even though it's on a budget, was pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. They made some clever choices.
And we talk about like the CG cities didn't look that bad either.
No,
they look pretty
the
good.
digital matte paintings.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
We're good,
lay off the green light a bit.
Whoa!
No, not here.
Oh yeah, I love my green light.
I think this is still like less than the movie.
It really is, yeah, because they had hardcore, like very heavy green light.
I shot something recently where like I left the green lights on and it was not. Some movie I realized afterwards, I'm like, oh shit, were the green lights on the whole time? But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like in like a vacuum. If you don't know anything about Tekken, it's like a fun little movie. It is clunky though. And part of me feels like, oh, maybe they should have rewritten it. But then you're telling me that they changed a lot of the movie. So maybe this is the result of writing it too much.
This is the better version.
Yeah, I mean, if the original version does exist, like, I mean, we probably will never see it. But I would love to, just for the simple fact of, like, I always like seeing, like, what was it supposed to be?
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I like doing, I haven't done one in a bit, but that's why I like doing those work print videos to like see like, oh, this is the direction that movie would have taken. So what you're saying is that you're starting the release the little cut
Yes.
The Dwight H. Little cut. You want it released right now.
I want the release, I mean, I did the release the pilot cut of the thing.
Yeah.
Release the Bayer cut of Suicide Squad. I'm in all those release the cuts.
You know what, I don't think this one has big enough of a cult following. Although it did get a sequel, so maybe it does. I don't know.
I think they were
I
just
love
trying
seeing alternate cuts of movies, though.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, I
it's
love
fun.
that.
The closest I think that we get, or at least to me, in my reality, to being in a multiverse. It's like, oh, this is what it would have been like.
It's not always better. It's not always better.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you see the Back to the Future footage with Eric Stoltz.
Oh, yeah.
You can see oh God, no, this would not have worked.
This dude's a bummer.
I mean, but you see him doing the Marty McFly, and you're like, okay, I could see and all right, it's a good thing that they noticed because it would have been one movie and then nobody would be talking about it anymore.
That's like, I finally watched
We wouldn't have hoverboards.
Right, we wouldn't have hoverboards.
A few years ago, I watched like the director's cut of Exorcist 3, and it's okay, but I get why the studio was like, you can't do that ending.
Well,
Put an exorcism in there.
Sorry, Exorcist 3. I was thinking.
But
I
the
was thinking
beginning.
the where it was Rennie Harlan.
No. That's a whole different animal.
That could be studied in film school.
Yeah. But no, Exorcist 3, that's one of the cases where I'm like, I don't like how lazily the exorcism is worked into the theatrical cut, but compared to the director's cut, I'm like, this is a way better, more entertaining ending. Like the other one is just kind of like, oh, whatever. But
there's a movie called Disturbing Behavior where
I rewatched it a few years ago.
It's a legit good movie, but like the director's cut that you have to the deleted scenes are on the disc, but they weren't like MGM wouldn't allow them to release it. So you can stitch the movie together if you're an editor, if you really want to see it. But the thing is, it actually works really well because it does a lot more. It delves more into like the kid's problems that he had with his family. His brother committed suicide and all that. Like why they wanted the kids to be good, and it's actually really good. And the only bummer is that the original ending is really hokey. And everything else about it is so good in the direct. And then it's like oh, but the studio ending is better. but the director's cut is kind of corny.
It's one of those like, can we have a little bit of each?
Yeah, merge the two together. Like I could see why this, but then
what if like we find the footage of Tekken and it's just like most of the movie was about the panda bear?
That would be amazing.
Like we had to cut out the panda bear. It was just too much.
There is
a panda, right?
There's a panda and the kangaroo.
Yeah.
And there was a whole fight with them. That would be the greatest thing ever. And he's wearing Christy Montero's pants.
Yeah.
And
it was like actually the movie was mostly about them. And then in editing, we were like, people aren't relating to the panda and kangaroo. Maybe we should make Jin a bigger character.
And they weren't like amorphous animals. They were actually a panda and a kangaroo, and they weren't
the best actors. They kept fighting.
They were biting the crew.
Gave Roar a run for its money. Anyway, that is it from us. Cecil, where can we find you?
You can find me at goodbadflicks.com and GoodBadFlicks on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, and all your Good Bad Flicks places. What?
Yoshi.
Yes.
Where can we find you?
I don't really have a channel or anything, but you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all the social medias. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it here. You could probably put it down in the thing. I don't know. Is that what you do? You can put it
I
down.
usually put it in the beginning, but for the podcast listeners,
Yeah, but
you can say it.
on Instagram, it's Yoshi Vu Art, all one word. And on Twitter, it's Vu Yoshi, all one word.
And go back and watch the episode I did with Yoshi, though. What's the deal with CGI? That was a fun one.
They're all amazing. The one that I do.
Yes. Not the rushed ones.
You know where to find me, Cameo, Patreon, all that fun stuff. Buy a shirt, go to the Retroware store, buy a Tony shirt. I got to resupply some of those shirts. That beautiful shirt with my face on it. I got to get more of those.
With the crown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tony Peaks, my Twin Peaks inspired shirt. I got to get more of those. They're still in stock at the moment, so get them in there. And that's it from us. Goodbye.
Are we doing the sequel, the prequel?
Maybe.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.